is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Chris. And today we have a really special guest with us today. We have Ava.
Hi.
Ava, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. I'm really scared for you and your paladins because we have a lot to talk about with this episode, especially a lot of drama, sort of, but
Drama.
we'll get into it a little bit. All right. So we're gonna do a recap of episode 5, Chaos, or also Tavora is coming. And we're gonna talk about your experience on the show, your thoughts on these characters, your thoughts on the paladins. We have a lot to go over. So let's just dive right into the episode. So we get like Dravis and Tavora, talking to each other. Tavora's kind of trying to manipulate Dravis into working with her. And when you saw this, what was your reaction with how horrible Dravis was?
Well, I didn't like Dravis while we were filming it because I almost
Yeah.
suspected something about him. But when I was watching it, I was kind of realizing that I guess he was kind of being mistreated a little bit because he is a mage and everyone was looking past that. So I kind of felt for him when I was watching it. And I was realizing that Tavora was getting to him by I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just every villain has a backstory as to why they are like that, and
Mhm.
I just felt bad for him.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the backstory, but before that, we do have a segment. We have Can we trust Dravis?
Can we trust Travis?
That's the question. Can we trust Dravis at this point? So at this point, when you were in the castle doing your missions and your quests, where was Dravis at this point with you and your paladins?
He was kind of showing us stuff about magic and stuff before. I always thought he was a little bit sketchy, but just a little bit. And he was definitely, I don't remember which episode it was, but he was obviously trying to frame Princess Adeline. I don't remember.
I think that's a couple of more episodes ahead of time. We have Dread Pirate XX in the chat. At least Dravis is cute. I don't know about that. I don't know. All right, so we do get a little We get a little backstory with Tavora. She was punished because of her ability of using magic, and we're gonna get into that because there's a lot of double standards with people who can use magic and people who are in the castle that can use magic.
Yeah.
So we have Tavora. We have a flashback of her, basically she's your age. We see her using magic on these the people that she's with, and then they blind her, put her in the middle of the forest, and then she enters this circular realm thing where she gets banished. What are your thoughts on that?
That was definitely her villain origin story for sure. That was kind of mean. She wasn't doing anything to hurt them, but they just decided to throw her out.
Yeah, she entered the dark forest. I forgot what it was called, but the Pharaoh saw what she can become. So that was what the
Yeah, we
Pharaoh.
didn't know anything about the Ferals or what they looked like. That was all new when I watched it.
Yeah, you're probably like, what? I should never have said this about Tavora. I think Dravis is worse than Tavora, my opinion. I think he's the real villain, to be honest.
I feel he's a little bit greedy, and
Yeah.
Tavora was actually mistreated as a kid
Hmm.
for wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So I feel that's why. Yeah.
And
And
it's just interesting, right? It's interesting to see the backstory of Tavora and the fact that she can use magic and people treat her differently. But then you have Dravis and one of the royals able to use magic, and everything is fine. So I don't know.
I feel they're just picking and choosing.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, the royals can use magic. Okay, so Tavora tells Dravis that he can rule the kingdom. So Tavora's being a manipulator. That's what she does. She tries to manipulate and convince people within your kingdom to do things for her. And yeah, so we get the royals are all the same age. So we have a cool meeting with you guys and the royals, they come in. You made a comment about something. I think it was just about the scrolls and stuff like that, and we're gonna get into that because the scrolls play a huge role into one of the
They
competitions that
do.
you guys had to play. So what was it like when the royals came in, and they were talking to each other about, you guys and who's gonna rule the kingdom? And what are your thoughts on Adeline? I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the royals?
Okay, kind of action-packed. So when they came in, I was just chilling on my hammock. I had a blanket on, and I was just living my best life, kicking back on the hammock because it was pretty early. And they came in, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice. We get to talk to them." And then David brought up who they thought was gonna be the ruler, and I was like, "Oh no, they're not gonna be happy about this one," because obviously they all wanted to.
Hmm.
And honestly, at that time, I feel like Princess Adeline would have probably been the best person for the job compared to her brothers. I
Hmm.
feel like Cedric would have just gone heads first into too much, and he would have gotten the kingdom into trouble. And I feel like Emmett doesn't have enough of as much as the leadership qualities,
Hmm.
but I like how it turned out in the end.
Yeah. And we won't spoil too much because we're just covering
No,
episode
yeah.
5. But I also, yes, well, actually, I do. I'll talk about that in episode 8. I think things could have been different, but I'll talk about that in a different episode recap.
Okay.
So, yeah, Adeline thinks it should be her. Prince Cedric and Emmett are like, uh.
They're like,
um.
oh, let's not talk about this.
So, Mila comes and you guys have your next quest, and this is kind of the midpoint of the whole quest overall, because instead of finding these gems, the 4 gems to unlock the crown, now you got to find these different items that are going to help you find the Kingstone. So
Yeah.
I want to know your opinion. Which was more harder, the first half where you had to find the gems, or the second half?
That is interesting. So I remember the first episode, I was I didn't feel too good about that one because I couldn't find the stone. Um, but then I feel like definitely the serpent one was pretty easy for me.
Hmm.
The one in the woods, which is actually in this episode, I like running through the woods,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Because I have the woods behind my house too. So it's kind of natural to me. But I did trip over a route that they didn't film. I cut my knee open
Oh my
and I
god.
just kept going on. Like, I cut my hands. I think I cut my elbow too. It didn't really bother me that much. But I feel like those two challenges for the gemstones came more. Actually, that wasn't a gemstone challenge. That's interesting. I really don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, because it seemed like the first half, like you guys were just starting off, but then the second half, it was very individually based. I felt like the
Yeah.
first half, you guys were really coming together as like a team, like we got to find these gems. But then the second half, it kind of almost seemed like you guys didn't have to work together, if that makes sense.
I feel like it brought more drama into it too, though. The
Yeah.
second half. And
Mm-hmm.
then also, I wasn't really in a lot of the drama, but I also had to deal with some of the drama
Yeah.
and and somewhat be involved. So I feel like that part made it definitely harder. And I feel like some people started to like focus more, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
That makes total
I'm
sense.
spinning in my chair.
Okay, so Mila and the Royals. This is kind of cool. So this time, instead of Mila just following you, it's the Royals are also joining you on this
I
mission, and it
like
kind of seemed
that.
like I like that too, because like it seems like a kind of like a party member type of thing. If you're playing like an RPG and like you have like more people coming and getting involved, I really do like that. Especially Caden's like one-liner, not Caden's one-liners. What's his name? The other Royal, not Emmett, not what's the other Royal's
Um,
name? Cedric, Prince Cedric.
Cedric. Yeah, I
Cedric's
know the
one-liners
actor's
are just
name.
like, "What are you guys waiting for? Just go."
Yeah, I definitely. Mm, that's hard to say. Honestly, I liked all the royals, but I thought Cedric was pretty cool. The
Yeah,
person in
you
the
you can hear me, right? Just want to make sure.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into this quest. I have a graphic. Hold on. All right, so let's get into this. Because this looked like it was the hardest one in terms of like knowledge wise. So you guys have to go. And first you have to find a map, right? So Caden finds the map, and you each have to find 3 rings based on your necklace. So you guys have I'm a little confused with how the necklaces were. So you guys have different color necklaces, and
Yeah,
within
so
those necklaces, you have to find the 3 rings that are correlating to your necklace, right?
yeah, basically we each got I don't know where mine is. I think I had it, but I don't know anymore. I still have the things, the bigger ones that we won,
Hmm.
but we basically had different color necklaces, and along all the sides and tops of the map, it kind of had the 3 things that we needed to find with the color, and then we had to find the color ring that matched our necklace.
Right. So then you also had to like look at the map and figure out where everything was. So, can you explain to me, did the scrolls play a role within finding the stuff on the map?
They definitely did, and I made flashcards. Like, we had a little notebook and some charcoal, and I just wrote them all on the flashcards. And if I feel like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have known which one was which.
Hmm.
But knowing which one helped a lot to find them.
That's good. Yeah, because we're gonna get into how you won this challenge. So you had to find. So yours was red. So you had to find wisdom, friendship, and determination.
Was mine red or
Determination.
was mine orange?
It said red, but it could have been orange. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
It said
It
red
might
on
have
the
been red.
episode. I have the notes.
I guess it was red.
All right. Yeah, so you had to find wisdom, friendship, and determination, and you had to find those on the map. So I guess they were symbols. Like each symbol was one symbol was friendship, one symbol was determination, and one symbol was wisdom. And so you had to go. Everyone had different necklaces, and they had to go scat out the area. Can you talk about that? Like, how hard was this competition, and how big was the forest?
So I definitely feel like it was they let us run. Like there was a range.
Hmm.
And I had to go back to the map. I think I had to go back once after I found the first one
Hmm.
to kind of go look again. But like right off the bat, the first thing I saw was the one down by the water. So I figured out that it was on rocks. So I was basically looking for big rocks. That makes sense. And they put it like behind. So you had to go all the way up into the woods and look behind them to find it. And I feel like that's where Holden really struggled because he didn't know that they were on rocks. So he didn't really know what he was looking for.
Hmm. So
But
did Holden also have the same necklace that you had?
no, everybody had different colored ones. And I'm pretty sure nobody had the exact same virtues.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I thought there was only 3 colors. They
No,
made it seem like there was 3.
there was eight.
Oh, okay. So and they were in different spots. Okay, got it. That
Yeah,
makes
like
sense.
each rock had like three because not everybody had the same one.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So you go, you find the wisdom, then you find friendship, and then you find the determination one. You pretty much destroyed this competition from the way they made it seem. So you did a
I
really
Yeah,
good job.
I just ran. Like I have
Yeah.
asthma and I was out of breath. I think they color corrected my face a little bit because I was bright red. I
Well,
was
you
like,
did it. You found the scepter.
I did.
So this was your second competition one because you got the gem of. Can you remind me what the gem that you got was?
Wisdom.
Gem of wisdom. So you got the gem of wisdom, and now you have the scepter. So you're 2 competitions in. And so this was the first key to the divine path. And then you guys all go see the what are those? Not the oracle. The big people. What, the
Oh,
gods or whatever.
the fates.
The fates. Sorry, there's so much terminology. Sorry. So you
I
guys
know, don't
finally go
worry.
see the fates, and there's like a new faith girl, that's there. And tell me what that experience was like when you guys had to go visit the fates after you won that competition.
After competition, I definitely was pretty stoked because I had the scepter and everything. So I was like, oh, I get to like. So I kind of felt happy, I'd
Hmm.
say, and
Yeah.
accomplished. So when we brought them there, I was definitely anticipating them being like, "Oh, so who won the scepter?" And I was a little bit nervous, to be honest, but I kind of got it together once it happened.
Well, it's good. Yeah. All right. So you guys go. You bring the scepter to the fates, and we get like a moment. And I do like the fact that we do get moments with like you guys and the royals like kind of separately. I know they didn't really show you talk to the royals like one
Yeah.
on one or two on one or anything like that, but we do get a moment with Tashani and
Myra?
the Myra. Yes, sorry, Dashani and Myra. And Myra is kind of disappointed because, and I mean, they're both kind of disappointed that they didn't win any of the challenges yet. And then Princess Adeline comes and kind of encourages them. When you saw that, what were your initial thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, I never knew Myra was upset about it because she never told any of us.
Hmm.
She spent the whole time trying to find Caden because she found his ring instead of
Yeah,
focusing on herself to find that. And she was upset that she did that because she realizes that she hasn't won anything yet.
yeah.
But I wish she would have like told me, and she never did, so we never really knew about it.
Okay. All right. So let's get into the second half of this episode, and it's kind of cool how the episodes are divided. So we have like a individual challenge, and then we kind of have like a team challenge. And so this team challenge was probably the midpoint of this entire show because this is the first challenge where things didn't go exactly, you know, your way as a team.
Yeah.
And so what happens is um, we get Dravis, doing what he does best and backstabbing everyone to
Yep.
rule the kingdom. There he is, backstabber. Um,
For the song Backstabber.
yep, there he is. We get him. He takes down the shield, so that way he's able to distract everyone um, to give the crown to Tavora, which smart, I guess. But then people are asking like where he's at, and Prince Emmett tries to find him. And then we get into your next challenge, which is basically to get the shield back up and running with the Fate Solus. So Dravix brings the yeah. So first, Dravis actually brings the crown to Tavora, and she can't get it because there's the shield that's up,
Yeah.
and it's because of the Celestial Dome. So you guys had to. You know what? We gotta get onto our challenge recap. I have a graphic. Hold on. Here we go.
Another graphic.
Okay, we got to get to the team challenge. So
That's
you
pretty.
guys have like these big shields, which by the way look like half the size of all of you, and I don't were they really heavy?
They were pretty heavy. I was
Yeah,
not expecting that. They were massive too.
yeah. So you guys had to put these like goggles on, or you have to put a mask on, and you have to get the beam to go into a certain direction to get the shield back up and running. And I have a lot of questions about this challenge. So I'm curious, how what was your original strategy with the shield and getting it to um, the whatever where you have to get it?
I feel like that one was definitely the hardest because we didn't really know what to do with that one. It was definitely up to the angles, but it was hard to find the angles. So I'm not sure that we were all in the right place, and it was hard because there was two separate groups of people because there
Hmm.
was a top part and there was a down part. So
Yeah.
it was really hard to actually communicate because we were in a whole separate part of the castle. I feel like it was like if it was less room and if it was all in the same layer, it would have been much easier. But we weren't able to talk to each other at all, really. So that
So
made
the
it
ha- so the
hard.
half of you were in like where I think David was the one that was in the upper level, and then
Yeah, and then we
who
were
was
in
in
the
the middle?
armory.
Yeah, the armory. Who was in the armory?
Ooh, it was probably me, Sean, may have been Holden. I know that Kaden, I think Myra and Tashani may have been down in kind of the main area where people would sell stuff. I don't
Hmm.
remember what it was called,
Yeah.
but I think it was David, Sean, Holden, and I.
Yeah.
up there, if I can recall
I think so.
correctly.
Yeah, I think that sounds correct. Yeah, I definitely know that you were in the middle because they showed you like with the shield, moving the shield and stuff like that. So you said that it was hard for you guys to communicate when it came to this challenge because where you guys were at, it was hard to like communicate with people like in the down area. Did you guys, looking back at this challenge now, would you do anything differently? Like as far as like maybe someone be the are they is are people allowed to move? Like the people that are by the market where all those people shop and stuff like that, were they allowed to like move out of their space, or did they have to stay in that one spot?
Well, basically, we were allowed to go wherever we wanted.
Okay.
Um, I think we kind of had some people go down there because we obviously needed some people down there.
Hmm.
But I don't really know what we would have done different. I don't that challenge was hard for me. I did not really
Yeah.
understand that challenge because
Yeah.
I knew the light had to reflect off at certain angles. I think we definitely just would have tried more angles if we had more time.
How much time did you guys have?
I do not remember.
About do you know like about like maybe like an hour? Would that
Not
be
an
right?
hour.
Less than
Probably
that?
more like 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Oh my wow. That's not a lot of time.
Yeah, and David fell too, and he hurt his I think he hurt his knee and his back because he was
Yeah.
standing up on something,
Hmm.
balancing and also trying to hold the shield.
Yeah. Yeah, so the fact that you guys had to do that in 30 minutes with those big shields and David not being able
The
to stay
goggles
like
didn't help either.
yeah, the goggles definitely did not help. And it seemed like David was struggling like to just stay in one spot and keep everything stable. I think if it was like the first challenge where you guys had to get the pieces to make the pyramid and like there was no time limit, like you guys would have been fine. But because the dark region like and they're escaping and stuff like that, it seemed
There was more
like
pressure.
yeah. It seemed like there was a lot more pressure. And I have my opinions on what the royal said, what the king said, and what the oracle said because you guys didn't finish this challenge. Like this is the first challenge you guys failed as a team. But honestly, like when you think of quests, like when do you ever get a perfect scenario in which like you get everything correct? Like there's going to be
Yeah,
times here and there that you're just not going to finish, you're not going to do the best at some of these challenges. So I'm kind of curious what was your opinion at the time with Mila, the royals, and the king basically being like, you guys failed. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I was kind of upset about that because in every movie or show or story, everything doesn't always go to plan and they have to
Hmm.
overcome stuff.
Yeah.
And they're just like, all right, you failed, go away. And we're like, okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Like, you just want us to fail one time and not even try again?
Yeah.
But I think I pretty much knew something was going to happen that we weren't just going to end on that because that's never how
Gotcha.
anything works.
Gotcha. I know where you're going with that. Okay, so um, you know, Tavora ends up getting the crown because now the shields were down and Dravis was able to center the crown. And then after that, Dravis helps Prince Emmett put the shield back up. And it was actually kind of weird that the prisoners didn't actually escape. Like they were close, but they didn't escape at all, which I thought was very anticlimactic because it seemed like you guys failed the mission, but you really didn't because he didn't
He
escape.
didn't escape. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like really pissed. He's like, "Oh man!" And he takes like a spear and he's like, "Ugh, I can't get in." So what are your yeah? So you guys are upset. You guys go back to your area. It seemed like people were messing around. The prisoners like messed your whole hub
Oh,
area
yeah.
out.
I was not happy about that because I don't
What were
like
your thoughts on
cleaning.
that?
I don't like cleaning, but
Yeah.
they made the whole place a mess. They opened all the drawers, they spilled everything out. Hay was everywhere. They basically graffitied our walls.
Yeah.
So that took a while to clean up. Once I got there, I just basically started going for it.
Hmm.
Because I was like, I just want to live in my happy, cozy place, and this isn't happy or cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she talked to
Okay.
us too, I think.
Yeah. That was when the Tavora finally revealed herself. And Tashani calls her out. She's like, "We don't
Tashani
care.
was not happy.
We don't like you. Say it to our face." I thought that was that was probably the funniest segment between like anyone and Tavora, but
She was bold.
yeah, she was definitely bold. Um, and that's, I mean, that's really it for episode 5. I definitely have a lot of. I think this one was definitely the midpoint of between the first half where you guys had to find the gems with those crazy, ridiculous, like boss battle enemy guys, creature Game of Thrones characters. So out of all the first half, like which one was your favorite? Obviously, you won the Gem of Wisdom with that like alien serpent looking thing. So like, which one was your favorite competition? Would you
My
say
favorite competition?
in the
Um,
first half?
Probably the one that I won. Not just because I
Yeah.
won it, because it made sense to me,
Hmm.
and I'm really good at escaping. Like, I've always been good at getting out of places that I don't wanna be,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like, if I was put in a locker room, I would be out of there before anyone else.
Yeah. So any overall thoughts on this episode that you want to discuss at all?
Um,
Anything that we missed?
I yeah, during the challenge with the scepter,
Hmm.
I wish I would've put where I fell, 'cause
Yeah.
that was funny to me, and Myra was all the way across the bridge, and she heard me fall, and she's like, "Ava, is that you? Are you okay?" And I thought that would've been funny if they put it in, but they didn't, sadly.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was this episode, actually. I'm trying to remember. Is this mm, I can't remember if it's in this episode or not.
Yeah, this was just the episode where you just find the scepter and then you have to do the shield thing as a team. That's all they really showed.
Yeah, I remember them leaving out a certain part,
Hmm.
of David and I that was,
Mm.
done. They never put it in. I don't remember. It's when we both had 2, I'm pretty sure. Or it might have just been when I had 1 and he had 2.
Yeah, so he had 2. At this point of the episode, David won the first competition and then he won the strength competition. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
I do want to talk about that one really carefully because that one looked really like physically that looked like the hardest like competition ever with those boulder things. Like,
That was before
how
I
heavy
started
was
working out
that?
too. I feel like if I would have done that now, because I go to the gym a lot, I probably would have been second because David's pretty strong because he boxes.
Yeah,
But that definitely hurt. Like my elbows were slowly pushing down.
yeah. But that actually, I would think that creature looked probably the best out of all of them because
Yeah.
he. Oh yeah, I have a graphic. Hold on, this
He's
is what he
massive
looked like.
too.
Yeah, that thing looked like huge. So we basically got like this White Walker thing with like antlers.
Like a Wendigo?
Yeah. and
Something
then the
like that.
first and then the first one was like this plus this. The first
Oh, he's
competition.
from,
Once upon a time.
yes, Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Rumpelstil
Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that a long time ago. I don't really
It
remember
was a really good
much.
show. We have Dread Pirate. Nothing like a reality competition to teach you that you are out of shape. I mean, that's a good point, honestly.
I mean, I started working out after that.
Yeah, but I will say your show has like the most like unique competitions out of like any other show that I've probably seen. To be honest, I like the medieval. They did a really good
I
job
like
with like
that too.
the medieval competitions. Like really worked out. Like you had mental, you had physical, you had like strategy ones. Like your competitions were definitely, um, you know,
More interesting, maybe?
yeah, they were really more interesting.
There's
All
more
right,
of
we're
a
gonna get
storyline behind them all.
this. Yep, exactly. I wish they do like a cartoon of it. Like that'd be cool if they did like a
A
cartoon version of the
cartoon.
show, but like
That'd
showing the
be
backstory of
interesting.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into a segment. We're gonna talk about your casting process. So just tell us what you can say and what you can't say. If you can't answer the question, that's totally okay. So,
I think I can. Oh, there's a
okay.
pop-up on my computer.
So how? Okay, let's. I want to get into the timeline. So, how did casting work for you? Did someone reach out to you? What was the time frame where they reached out to you? What was the time frame when they filmed? And yeah, let's just get right into it.
Okay, I might need to check my phone for a second to figure out what
Okay.
the time frame definitely was, but it was during online school because of when COVID hit last year. I was
Hmm.
in ninth grade, and I didn't like online school. I barely did it, so I was just roaming the internet. I was trying to look for stuff to do, I don't know if I was on backstage, but I was just looking around because I was bored, and
Hmm.
I found this, and I was like, "Oh, I'll fill it out maybe." And my mom got a call, and she thought it was a scam, so I'm kinda glad she answered it, and she's like, "I almost didn't answer it." And she got a call basically saying, "Oh, yeah, we saw Ava's, form, and we wanna talk to her on a Zoom call with other people." And my mom's like, "Okay, I gotta talk to Ava about this." So then that happened, and basically I had to go through maybe 6 maybe Zoom calls, but each time it felt like I feel like more people were on it. In the last Zoom call, there were so many producers and people, and basically they just wanted to talk to me. So I guess they liked me because I ended up on the show.
What state do you live in right now?
I live in New Hampshire. I don't wanna live in New Hampshire, though.
Uh,
I don't It's nice in the summertime, but I don't like the winter at all. I hate the
yeah.
winter. Like, I like going snowboarding and skiing, but snow all winter is too much. Like, I'd like to be able to get away from that more.
I'm
But
really
I
stupid.
haven't
Where's New Hampshire? Is it like north or?
so you know where Maine is?
Yes.
It's right below Maine,
Okay,
basically.
got it. Gotcha. Okay.
In New Hampshire, I work in Portsmouth. I'm pretty close to Portsmouth. I live like 30 minutes away from Portsmouth.
Oh, so it's like in the northeast?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Wow, I'm like really stupid.
it's above
Sorry.
Florida, it's above New York,
Okay.
next to Vermont.
Sorry, guys. I'm like, I don't know my geography. But I
No
saw the
facts,
map.
'cause I
Yeah, it's
don't either.
northeast. Yeah.
I'm trying to find
Okay,
the
yeah, that's
timeline.
interesting.
It's in my Snapchat memories.
So we have someone in the chat asking, did you get to meet Jane Fleming and Mark Ortix guy? Are those like the producers? I don't know what.
Mark? I think that's his last name, maybe? But yes,
Mm.
I did meet Mark. Mark's very nice. It was really fun working with him because he made everything easier. He was kind of like our babysitter.
Aw.
It was interesting. I'm trying to find the timeline. I know it's in my Snap
It was
memories.
like what in 2020, right? I would say it would be around 2020 was when you guys.
Oh, I found it. I
Okay.
think I got there at like February 2021, maybe?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
that's what
you guys
my
filmed it.
timeline
Okay, so
says.
it's been about February, March, April. So it's been about 14, 15 months since they
Yes.
since you guys filmed. Okay, that makes sense. All right.
I think it ended in like March or February, late January, maybe early March,
Okay,
maybe.
gotcha. So you guys were only there for a month, correct? Because that's I know when I did my interview with Caden, he said you guys were only there for a month.
I think we were there for about a month. I
That's
don't know if
that's
that
actually
was
kind of
with
crazy to think
quarantine or
that.
without it though.
Hmm. Okay.
We were locked in our hotel rooms for a while.
Before you got to the castle, correct?
Yes, before we
Okay.
went into Everrealm.
Everyone, gotcha. Cool. All right. So I'm curious to know. So that was your casting story. I'm curious to know, like, well, I have two more questions to ask you. My next question I want to ask you is, if you had to do another reality show, what kind of reality? Which one would you do? Maybe you're not old enough, but let's say you're 21 right now. You're
If I'm
21.
21, I probably want to do one outdoors. So maybe like I probably wouldn't want to do alone because I wouldn't want to be alone. But maybe something like Naked and Afraid or Survivor.
Okay. That's a good one. Naked Afraid and Survivor. Yeah.
I feel like in
Um.
Naked and Afraid you don't have to do much. Well, you definitely do have to do a lot, but not as many like challenges. You basically just try to survive, and I feel like that's fun.
Yeah.
And alone too, but I wouldn't want to be alone.
Okay, so my last question that I want to ask you is, was there stuff in the episode, um, and this is kind of like a, it could be either or. Was there stuff in the episode that was not shown that you wanted to see, and then vice versa?
Yeah, like I said again, the part where I fell, I
Yeah,
wanted that to be shown because I definitely would have laughed because I'm a little bit clumsy. I have long legs, so I kind of fall sometimes or trip. I stub my toe on almost everything in the house, so I think I've broken it a couple times.
yeah.
At
Well,
this
at least
point, I kind of
it's
just
good
ruin
now,
it.
right?
I stubbed it a couple days ago.
Oh, we got.
It's still sore.
Well, that's
I
not
think
good.
my toenail almost came off TMI, but it hurt really bad.
You gotta watch out. All right, we
I
have
really don't see it.
Dread Pirate XX in the chat. Ava, did you watch the first season of The Quest? So the one with the
Um,
adults,
the
yeah.
adults. It's not really the first season of the quest. It's kind of the. It's a different show. The first season of the quest that I'm on is the one that I'm in. But with the ones with the adults, I did watch it basically as soon as I found out that I was maybe going to be on it.
Okay, and yeah, and to go into that question, I want to ask you, um, if this season, if your show was the same format as the Quest from ABC, where people get eliminated, what I mean, how would that change everything? Like, what are your thoughts on like if that would be the case? Like, do you think that they would do that for another season? Like, I'm curious on what your thoughts are on that.
Um, I zoned out just a tad bit right at the beginning when you said that.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me
Um,
now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. If your show had the same format as last the quest,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that? Like, how much would change into it? Would you have to change things up with your strategy and your competition wins? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's interesting. I've really watched it like a year ago,
Hmm.
so I don't really remember specific things about the challenges. The only two I really remember is the one with the locks that they were like dipped in something and they had to peel it off. And he's asking if he wanted eliminations.
Yeah, that's the
Mm.
yeah that's the because that show.
Did they? Oh, they eliminated
Yes,
people.
yeah,
I
yeah,
totally forgot about that.
yeah,
Um, I feel like if they eliminated people, I would have probably gone further than I did
yeah. Okay,
because there would have been not as many choices to go through. So it would have came down to whoever had the most talismans, and I had two.
okay, that's a good answer. So it's
Chop up your friends freaking.
we're not going to get into spoilers, but let me tell you, I have a lot. Episode 8 recap. I have a lot to say. That's all I have to say because
It's gonna be
I did not
interesting.
expect certain things to go a certain way. That's all I will have to say. Ava, do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap this awesome interview up?
Um, the quest definitely was a great experience, and if you have not seen it, you should go watch it now. It's out streaming on Disney Plus. And what else is it streaming on?
It's just streaming on Disney Plus as of right
Just
now. It could
Disney?
be,
Yeah.
yeah.
It came out May 11th. It's there for everyone to see every episode, so you can just binge watch it if you want.
Yes, go watch it on Disney Plus, guys. Go watch The Quest. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this recap episode with Ava. And until next time, guys, take care.
It was so nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Bye.
Bye.